Yes, good evening, my people. I welcome you to another special edition of the Jagbajantis show, and I remain your regular host, Akin. Thank you very much for joining me this evening. As usual, it's a pleasure to always have you. Wonderful people connect with me from across the globe. Um, how you doing? How's your week been? And my people from Nigeria, I hope you are coping well with the situation of the country. I can only, you know, join you in prayers, and may God give you the fortitude to bear the consequences of your choices. And that would be my prayer for you. Ẹ pẹ̀lẹ́, ẹ kú àforítì àti ìfaradà. I greet my people on YouTube. Àwọn yẹn ẹ jẹ́ ká fún àwọn yẹn ní àwọn posh community nìyẹn, and there other part tún ti create VVIP section bẹ́ẹ̀ tí ìyàwó ọlọ́wọ́ síbí tó rọra jókòó sí, you know. It's a VVIP lounge, gbogbo nǹkan ó ń ṣe ṣọ̀mùṣọ̀mù ń bẹ̀ ni. They don't drink water, they give you wọ́n á ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ká àgbọn, wọ́n á ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ bá bẹ́ẹ̀ lórí, wọ́n á fi straw sí, òróró tó máa fi màsáàjì wọn níbẹ̀ yẹn wọ́n ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ heat ẹ̀ náà ni, so if you want that corner as well, I recommend you link up Bread YouTube. So I greet you all, my guys on YouTube. Thank you very much for joining me. I see you, Yawolo Shibi, fine wine. And I see you, my brother, Ogbuato, àwọn alálẹ̀ àgbèwà o. Bó ni gbogbo ètò ọdún ṣe ń lọ? I know it's a festival season for you guys at the moment. Ẹ kú ọdún o, ẹ kú ìyèdún o. And that's my brother Kambi Olusegun Afofun. For those of you who don't know him, he's a regular comrade, but ó ti step up. That's why tí ẹ rí tí orúkọ tún change yẹn, but it's still the same person. Agbára ló dé, agbára ti dé. Agbára ti dé. Right. Now let me say hello to my people on Twitter. Àwọn yẹn tún posh yàtọ̀, àwọn intellectual àwọn yẹn. So YouTube posh, Twitter intellectual. Mo kí yín o, àwọn ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n ló wà ńbẹ̀ yẹn. Ibẹ̀ yẹn lè ọ̀wọ̀ ni, èèyàn kì í tẹ̀lé anyhow ńbẹ̀ yẹn. Ìbá yín o. And then let me come to my people gangan, àwọn street, àwọn gbòòrò. Àwọn gbòòrò gangan. I greet you all my people on Facebook. You guys are the soul and spirit of this platform, especially those of you who contribute, either joining me in the studio or putting out posts in the comment section. I really appreciate you guys, and thank you very much for joining me again this evening. As usual, we need to, recognize the person on the high table again this evening, and it's no other person than the regular, my fluffy sister, all the way from the United States of America, Esther Adiola. Ó yá ẹ̀yin ọ̀ṣà ó ti yé yín, usual ni, ó ti di bárakú gan sìn, so Nǹkan tí mo fẹ́ ṣe ń sìn, mo fẹ́ ra chariot tí wọ́n máa fi gbé yín sìn, so there won't be any need for you to even walk anymore. Just from where you are sitting, they'll just transport you from there to the high table. Thank you very much for joining me and for seemingly making that position your permanent place now. For some reason, Egbon busy lẹ́njọ́ mẹ́ta yìí, and Ebun as well. She's here and there. So you have taken that position and you're gradually making it permanent. Thank you very much for joining me. The law, the law. That is our lawyer lórí ètò yìí. Ọlọ́run ìjà arẹjọ́ o, ṣùgbọ́n tó bá ti di rough, barista wa nìyẹn, ẹ̀ńtà máa lọ ké sí nìyẹn. Olúwaṣeun Màkì Adéyẹ̀wọ̀n. Thank you very much for joining, my brother. It's a pleasure to have you on the show again tonight. Yes, my sister says, Gio, this your prayer, get Kelego. Which one for you to be? Kí ni mo wá máa ṣe? Àdúrà mo lè gbà fún wọn nìyẹn. Kọ́lọ́run mú kó fún wọn ní agbára láti lè faradà as a prayer point I can give to them. I greet you, my brother Aji Bosse Omotayo. Thank you very much for connecting with me this evening as well. And my brother, Babani, Mickey Akins. Thank you very much for joining as well. As you are coming in, please help me share this show on your platforms. Invite somebody to invite another somebody for another somebody to invite another somebody. Ẹ ṣáà mọ̀ bọ́n ṣe máa ń ṣe pẹ̀lú àwọn kí ni gbogbo àwọn investment ẹ máa ń kówó lé lórí yẹn tó máa ń gbà yín yẹn. Invite two people so that those two people bring another two people, and so ẹ bá mi ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ náà bí ẹ jẹ́ ká mmm wọn. Right. Àwọn kan wà tán wà lórí ètò tí wọn signify pé àwọn wà níbí, ṣùgbọ́n a ṣí mi lójú ẹ̀mí fẹ́rẹ́fẹ́ ń sìn, mo bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí rí nǹkan, mo bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ríran, mo ríran. Ẹ jẹ́ n sáré wo àwọn nǹkan tí mo rí kó tó di wípé a tún ká signal yẹn lẹ̀, because ó máa ń wá ó máa ń lọ ni. I greet you, my brother Emmanuel Makinde. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. And mọ̀mọ́ gbogbo wa, ìyáálé ọ̀kan, ìyá àgbòrò nìyẹn. I greet you as well. Thank you very much for joining as well. I greet you, my brother Shitu Olanrewaju. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. And àwọn lọ́ọ̀yà ńlá lélẹ̀, àwọn àgbà. Ṣé mọ̀ pé Sànù wà, Sandalili wà, àwọn Sansan náà tún wà, Senior Advocate of Nonsense wà. Àwọn eléyìí ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n lọ́ọ̀yà làwọn. I greet you, my brother Omoni Banji. Very cerebral and very practical person. I've not met him in person, but from a distance I can gauge him, and no, I don't think I'm wrong in my assessment of him. I welcome you, my brother, to the show. Thank you very much. I want to ká signal lẹ̀, mi ò tún rí dáadáa mọ́, but àti ṣèyẹn lọ́nà. So if you're on the show, you want me to give you a shout out, please just indicate your presence, and I will with all pleasure welcome you, especially. To the silent listeners and the invisible listeners, I greet you as well. And those who will be tuning in to the show later on, to watch the recorded version of the show, I greet you as well. Thank you very much for joining me. This is Jagbajantis, where we talk nonsense. Tonight again, we're going to be discussing something that you're all familiar with. It's a word we throw about, every now and then. But there are a few things I um, noticed while reconsidering or going through this um, issue again. Èèyàn ńlá kan ló tún wọlé yẹn. Ọmọ rèé Pẹpẹ. Èèyàn ní Honourable Pẹpẹ. I greet you, my sister, all the way from the United States of America. My one and only Pepe. Thank you for joining me on the show. It's a pleasure to have you. Ẹ̀gbọ́n mo kí yín ẹ kálẹ́ o, mo ti sọ̀rọ̀ yín kẹ́ tó dé o. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for connecting. Well, you've not missed anything. I ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ bẹ̀rẹ̀ náà ni, so I'm just getting into the topic. Right. So lately I look around and uh, you see, you sometimes see decisions that people make and you ask yourself why to she, or you find people get themselves into some um, kind of troubles that you feel are avoidable, and you ask yourself, but why? Sometimes you hear some people say certain things, sometimes you see some people behave in some kind of way, and you are tearing your hairs out, like, but why? You I mean, you just find it baffling that they would behave in such a manner, or say such a thing, or find themselves in such situation. If you think like that, um, the chances are um, you have common sense, and that's why you could think that way. And you're thinking that way because you feel they should know, that they should have, the ability to, do better. But I'm here to tell you tonight that common sense is not common. And the reason is not because some people just maybe deliberately um, choose to be foolish, or maybe some people are born just to be wise, or um, maybe it's a function of education. No, it's none of those. And that's why I think it's worth discussing, just to bring another perspective to how we see common sense and why some people would not have it, and why some people have it, and what to look out for, or how to recognize people who have common sense. Everything I will say here tonight is not all that can be said on this topic. Point I will give, there could be more. So I welcome your contributions on the platform. And if you want to join me in the studio at some point, if we don't run out of time, I will be happy to have you join me. Right. Let's start from the let's start from the note I added to the post. when I was posting this the link to the show tonight. And I said common sense is a measure of the possible. It is composed of experience and prevision. It is a calculation applied to life. And this is a quote by Henry Frederick. And this sort of summarize everything we will be discussing tonight. So I want to start from, breaking down this statement. Initially, I said common sense in the topic. Common sense is the spirit of reasonableness. And if we are to define reasonableness, um, it's simply referring to, having sound judgment, moderateness, fairness, balance. And in that um, opening statement, the measure of the possible, that is, it's common sense starts from understanding limitation. It starts from understanding what works, what doesn't work. It starts from knowing what is appropriateness. All this points to measure of possible. That certain thing is allowable or permissible doesn't mean you can do that thing in every environment you find yourself. Certain things don't work in certain situations if you have common sense. Now, the statement goes on to say it is composed of experience and prevision. So, and that's why I said earlier that when you see some people and you say, oh, no common sense, sometimes we refer to them as maybe deliberately foolish. Then I don't know common sense, I don't people won't be more money. No. Common sense is born out of experience. That is, you must have made series of mistakes in the past. And out of those mistakes, you are able to draw wisdom. You are able to draw knowledge. You are able to draw, intelligence from those mistakes. You are able to learn from them. And it is this, aggregate of learning that you put in your subconscious so that when, in your journey of life, you find or you come across similar situations, you know what part of that experience to tap into for you to know what to do. So we have people who are old who supposedly should have experience because when you're old, you make mistakes. But not everybody are wise or become wise by age. You become wise by learning. So you can have people who are old in terms of numbers, age, But in terms of experience, they've learned nothing in life. Because when something happens to them, they don't go over that situation again. They just move on. Wọ́n ní bọ́mọdé bá ṣubú àwòwájú bá gbà bá ṣubú àwẹ̀yìn wò. Àgbà máa wò ó pé kí ló kọ́ òun lẹ́sẹ̀. Kí ni kóun avoid nígbà míì tóun bá tún gbà bí. Ìgbà míì tóun bá gbà bí yẹn doesn't necessarily mean ọ̀nà yẹn again, but ayé máa ń yí ni. Kò sí nǹkan kan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ sẹ́dà tó jẹ́ tuntun. It has happened before. It is just that it's happening in a different dimension. But when you look at it critically, when you look at it deeply, it has the same fundamentals. And when you understand the principles around that situation, regardless of the changes it brings this time around, you know what is applicable. But people who just go through life, who go through situations, you can grow through experiences or you can go through experiences. go through, and grow, grow. People who grow through the experiences in life are the ones who becomes wise, and they are the people who can build common sense. But the people who just go through it and will rather blame other people. They don't sit down to consider why that thing happened to them and how they are culpable in allowing it to happen, what they can learn from it. Those people will just grow in age, but they don't grow in wisdom. So, but people who learn from their experiences, from their mistakes, who don't just beat themselves down alone, who don't just blame other people, but who learn from it, who understand deeply why that situation happened to them and who take something out of it, are the ones that can build common sense. And then it is the common sense that would, help you now to have prevision, because before something happens, you can see you can feel, you can sense, you can see traces of it, because you can infer to what has happened in the past. So before the situation develops, you quickly nip it in the bud. You don't even let the situation develop to become issues that you start dealing with. You know quickly how to kill that from the source. And then lastly, it says it is a calculation applied to life. And that's exactly how it is. Like in the song you listen to, ọjà ọ̀dájú nílé ayé, o ní láti mọ̀ ọ́ rà. Everything we do daily is to trade. When you meet people, when you interact with them, you have relationship with people every day, you're trading. It's give and take. When you are making decisions and choices, you're foregoing certain things for certain things. You're trading. And to trade, you must be very calculative. You don't just do things mindlessly. You must consider every factors involved. You must, look at things in depth before you say, okay, mo ju eléyìí lẹ̀, ẹ bá mú yẹn. The same way you go out to buy things, you don't just take whatever they give to you. You look at it properly. Is it well done? Is it the stitches and things like that? You look at everything in details. You see that the details are satisfactory. And then you sometimes even bargain. You try to, still haggle the price and see if you can get some sort of, discount. It is the same principle to life. You must approach life with caution. You must be very calculative. But you can't do this if you don't have common sense. Gbogbo nǹkan wàá kàn máa torí bọ̀. Gbogbo nǹkan wàá máa gbẹ́nu sí. Bó ṣe ń já sí kòtò ni wàá máa já sí gegele. Because you don't know when to apply caution. You don't know when to get involved in something. You don't know when not to say anything. You don't know the weight of certain things you say because you lack common sense. Right. Let's now move a bit further and consider traits that you would find in people who have common sense. And you can, use this to screen your own life as well. There are certain way that people who have common sense behave. And is standard. They won't compromise any of these things. It's become their life principles. And as you're screening your life, the one that you think you possess, well, keep it up. And the ones you think you can imbibe, this is an opportunity for you to pick whatever you can pick. And where I'm going to start from is what is most important to me. Number one principle of my life, which I've said severally on this platform. If you get this right in life, ṣòro kí jàǹbá tó ṣe ẹ́. If you get this right, and it's not about getting right alone. If you have the discipline to carry it out, because ó ṣòro, and that's where I'm going to start from. People who have common sense, the first thing you'll find in them is that they understand, recognize cause and effect. They understand choice and consequences. People who have common sense don't behave absent-mindedly. They don't just do things. They think things through to the end. For every situation, they can envision how it will play out. They don't think halfway. They don't think at the beginning alone. They think to the end. So they see the end that the choice or the decision they're about to make will give them. And this vision can help them now decide, you know what? No, maybe we should do it differently. Because if that end is not what they want, they don't go ahead with it. The reverse is the same for people who don't have common sense. Wọ́n á wọ̀ tán, wọ́n á wọnú ìṣòro tán, wọ́n á ṣe máa wá ọ̀nà jáde. And when they meet somebody who is able to break down the whole process for them, wọ́n á ní, mi ìmọ̀ náà ni mi ìdẹ̀rù eléyìí o. But we have some people who know, but they lack the strength, they lack the discipline. to not go through that to not make that choice. Some, focus mainly on the short-term benefit, and they don't consider the long-term implication of the choice they want to make, or they consider and they think, you know what, Ọlọ́run máa ṣe, Ọlọ́run á bá wa yanjú ẹ̀, Ọlọ́run á yanjú ẹ̀. Many of them wọ́n dàbí Fọlọ́runṣọ́ tó ń fi okùn ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ gun ọ̀pẹ ni. And that's why when they get into mess, èmi bí ẹnìkan, I hardly show any, sympathy, because some of them deceive themselves or convince themselves that the consequence of the choice they are making would not come. No, it will come. Méjèèjì jọ ń rìn ni. Choice and consequence. Ó jọ ń rìn ni. So you meet a guy that is not responsible, you can see, ó mọ̀ pé kò responsible. Ìwọ rèé, o dẹ̀ fẹ́ dá ọmọ tọ́. O kàn fẹ́ kíyàn kankan fún ẹ lóyún kó má sínú life ọmọ yẹn. Ṣùgbọ́n ẹni yìí ń fẹ́ bá ẹ sùn with no protection. O dẹ̀ ń gbà. Nítorí kíni? Torí skin to skin ló máa ń dùn. Wá fún ẹ lóyún tán. Ó lóun òun ti sọ fún ẹ pé òun ṣẹran ìlú kan o. Oko community lòun o. Èèyàn kan ò lè jẹ́ tán o. Òun plan láti ẹ̀ ti jókòó tí ẹ̀ ra. Òun ti ẹ̀ plan láti settle down nísìn. Wọ́n á ń gbọ́ rẹ̀ wá social media, ń sunkún kiri. Wípé men has come. Men are not come. Ìwọ ló ní common sense. Because o ro kí ni consequence choice tó ń make yẹn. In tó kún orí ẹ̀ gbà yẹn, ó ní wípé wọ́n ná ẹ̀ lẹ́dà. Ó dẹ̀ ń jẹ bedsheet nígbà yẹn. Gbogbo ara ẹ̀ dẹ̀ ń gbọ̀n, gbogbo ẹsẹ̀ ẹ̀ dẹ̀ ń gbọ̀n. Olórin kan tá a máa ń kọ nífẹ̀ẹ́. Wọ́n ní, ó fi bẹ̀rẹ̀ ọjọ́ ayé rẹ̀ ṣaṣẹ́wó, ó tètè mọ̀ pérékéré lè doyún. Nígbà tó doyún tán, ó kó àjùmọ̀dó, ó wá doyún ìwọ ní nǹkan ṣoṣo. What a bitter experience. You have to think things through. You can't take your eyes off consequences. Kò síbi tó ti ń ṣerú ẹ̀. And this is one thing that people who have common sense don't joke with. Look around, you see people. Papa àlẹ́ ṣe wá bá ara nínú situation báyìí. Àmì ìró náà ni ẹ̀rù báwo. So, cause and effect, choice and consequences must be evident in the life of anyone with common sense. Kó tó ṣe nǹkan, wọ́n á rò dí ẹ̀yìn dópin. This is a principle I apply in my life. Since I took over the control of my life, tí mo ti mọ̀ pé mo wà responsible fún ayé mi, tí mi máa sá pamọ́ sábẹ́ grace, tí mi máa even báwọn kìíní ẹ̀ ti ẹ̀wà tó ń ṣiṣẹ́, tí mi máa abuse wọn. Ẹlòmíà deliberately ṣèkà toró mọ̀ pé ṣèbó wàá kàn lọ tọrọ ìdáríjì ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ náà ni. Ó ti gbàgbé wípé tó bá ń lọ ṣebi fún èèyàn, grave méjì ni kó gbẹ́ o. Ìkan fún wọ àti kan fún ẹni tó fẹ́ lọ ṣèkà fún. Torí bí èèyàn bá níkà méjì, á fi kan ṣera ẹ̀. These are principles of life. Tó bá rò ó délẹ̀ ó bá má ṣe, tó bá dẹ̀ ṣe ò ní rí wàhálà torí, ṣùgbọ́n ìkà yẹn ló wà lójú ẹ̀, òòró pé kíní á lẹ́yìn o, irú ẹ̀yìn tó dẹ̀ máa ní mi ìfẹ́ láìkẹ́. This is how I'm raising my kids. Tó bá ṣe anything, they must be able to explain to me why they did it, because I need to understand their thought process. I'm building them to understand choice and consequences. You must think things through kó tó gbégbèsè. So I encourage them to tell me why they did it, no matter how foolish it is. They must talk. Tọ́n bá lè sọ, tọ́n bá sọ pé I don't know, kàn ṣe yẹn àyẹn gangan ní issue. But you must be able to tell me how you did something. Then it becomes a learning curve for them, because àwa máa sọ̀rọ̀ gan-an, máa fún wọn different scenarios and everything like that. With that, I'm building experience for them. I encourage them to make mistakes, but not to repeat mistakes. Because when you repeat mistakes, it shows that you are not learning. But when you make new mistakes, you are only expanding your perimeter of ignorance. And the more mistakes you make, the more, opportunity you are giving to yourself to learn and grow. So if you hate, to think things through to the end and see what consequence or likely consequence that decision you're about to make will give you, then you lack common sense. You seriously lack common sense. Wàá dẹ̀ máa rí wàhálà ni, wàá máa rí wàhálà ṣeré ni. O ṣe ń bọ́nù kan, wàá máa wọnú kan. In life, I apologize that I'm dwelling so much on this, but mi ò rí any other principle tó important to lè láyé since I discovered it. And that's why I'm spending so much time on it. Whatever we do in life, we do it only for just two reasons. Kò sí nǹkan kan tá à ń ṣe láyé, anything you can think of that you do is for two reasons you do that. One, to derive pleasure, and two, to avoid pain. So for every time you want to take a decision, you must place that decision you're about to take on this scale: pain and pleasure. No matter how pleasurable what you want to do is, if the later pain outweighs the pleasure, don't do it. Don't do it. And if you are able to understand this principle, then you will take your time before you take decisions. Many of us are in a rush. A máa ń ṣe nǹkan gànràn, kì í farabalẹ̀. And nínú àìfarabalẹ̀ ni ìṣubú wà. Nínú àìfarabalẹ̀, inú ẹ̀ ni mistakes wà. But when you are able to calm down, consider things carefully. If possible, tó bá ní àwọn tó lọ́pọlọ lára àwọn tó lè tún fi lọ, just to pick from their brains, kó lè ní clarity nǹkan tó fẹ́ ṣe yẹn. And lastly, I encourage you, anything you do, any decision you take, stand by it. Ìyẹn ló ń pè pé o are responsible. Don't hide. Ibi tá a ti wá, physical appearance ló máa fi sọ pé èèyàn wà responsible. Toro ó wọ shirt àti ṣòkòtò, ó talking, ó shave, ó yarun ẹ̀. Ìmí gan tó bá ń bọ̀ gan, Gideon Bible yẹn, àwọn blue kékeré ní New Testament yẹn ló máa fi ṣe bí pocket square. So that tó bá ti kí wọn pẹ̀lẹ́ mà, Bible yẹn á jábọ́ wọn ní mọ̀ dáadáa tó ka Bible débi ni. Ìyẹn ló fi ń judge pé èèyàn wà responsible. But that's not it. That's not the definition of being responsible. Being responsible is standing by your choice and decision, no matter the consequence. Má sá pamọ́. Ẹni ìgbésẹ̀ tó bá ti gbé, dúró tì. ó le koko, ó burú, ó ṣe anything. Own your shit. And then you learn from it if the consequence is bitter. So that next time, o ti add yẹn mọ́ experience fúnra ẹ̀ nìyẹn. Tó bá ti rí fìrìfìrì irú nǹkan bẹ́ẹ̀ wọ́n fi lọ ẹ́ ní àbúrò gan ló tún fẹ́ tẹ̀sẹ̀ àgẹ̀rẹ̀ débẹ̀ ni kíákíá mọ̀ bí wàá ṣe pera ẹ̀ padà because kí ni o ti ní common sense. Kí ló mú common sense yẹn wá? Mistake tó ṣe previously. And that's why I encourage, don't blame people for whatever happens to you. Even kó jẹ́ pé èèyàn gan ló wá cause problem yẹn sínú ayé ẹ̀. First of all, check yourself. Báwo ló ṣe allow ẹni yẹn láti wọlé? There must always be your culpability in all these things. Because ayé ẹ̀ là ń sọ ń pa. Níbo ló ti gọ́ra ẹ? Níbo ló ti gbójú kúrò? Níbo ló ti sùn? Níbo ló ti ṣẹ́jú? Wọ́n ti sáré, you know. Learn those things. Leave them. Wọ́n ti ṣe nǹkan tó máa ṣe. Ìwọ ni kó wúra ẹ pé okay, I dropped the ball here. Next time, kò ní ṣẹlẹ̀. But kò fẹ́ blame èèyàn just to make yourself feel good and whatever thing like that. Ọmọ ò tí ì là. The mistake you fail to acknowledge, you can't correct. And the one you don't correct, you will repeat it. Fakati. Let's move to the second point that you will find in people with common sense. They are critical thinkers. And that's why they make fewer dumb mistakes. It's not, look, kò sẹ́ni tó perfect. So no matter how smart, how commonsensical you are, yes, lapses ṣì máa wà, wàá ṣì make mistake because ayé yìí ó ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ń rìn ni, ó ń rìn rí. So kò sí ní tó yé ẹ, ó ṣe ń figure it out ni. So allow yourself to make mistakes. But people with common sense, because of their critical thinking ability, they make mistakes, but not dumb mistakes. Not dumb mistakes. Because they use logic when they are reasoning rather than following their emotions. They don't think with their heart, they think with their head. Ìyàtọ̀ wà nínú méjèèjì. They look at things, should make sense. They analyze every situation in front of them critically. Just like computer programming, tó ń bóyá máa ń process nǹkan. If A is this, then B. If B is this, then do A. Then B, then do D. That's how they think. If it doesn't make sense, they don't go ahead with it. They don't leave anything to chance. Even though aspect yẹn wà, because ayé pín sí méjì ni, what you can control and what you can't control. So ètò ò lè control yẹn, má bother ara ẹ̀, fílẹ̀. But tó lè control yẹn, you have to do it to the best of your ability. Because ó ní í ṣe pẹ̀lú tó lè control. So when they're not sure about a thing, they don't go ahead with it. But they don't have all the full information that can help them make an informed decision, they don't go ahead with it. Even where they have to take risk, because yes, you have to take risk in life, they take calculative risk or calculated risk. And when they take this risk, want to prepare ara wọn ahead for, how to cushion the effect of the likely losses they might suffer from it. So wọ́n to prepare gan fún, ibi tó máa land sí tí wọ́n fẹ́, and how to take themselves up from there. So kó o kàn lè lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ tó ní common sense kó o kàn ju lámbà sí. No, wọ́n máa ń ro nǹkan fínífíní. Orí ló fi ń ṣe nǹkan, kì í ṣe heart. They are led by their head, not by their heart. If they are not clear about a thing, if something don't make sense in logical sense, no, wọn ò ní ṣe. Because kò ní já síbi tó yẹ kó já sí, and 9 out of 10 times they are always right. One out of 10 yẹn àfilẹ̀ fún, ayé ò yé wa, and life will be life. You can do all your planning and permutation and whatever thing and still not get it right. Only 1% tí mo fi lẹ̀, àbí only 10% tí mo fi lẹ̀, but the 90%, when they go with, their critical thinking, their logical thinking, they will always, get the right decision. So they connect everything. Eléyìí yẹ kó rí báyìí. Ṣé ti wo eléyìí, ṣé nǹkan kan báyìí? Tó bá ti rí pé no, wá nínú ẹ má jà ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀. Ẹ má jà ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀. So that's another thing you would find in people who have common sense. They're critical thinkers. So another thing you would find in the life of people with common sense is that all the time they look at the bigger picture. They are not parochial minded. They are not narrow minded people. They have an expansive mind. Àti nǹkan tẹ́ ẹ rò wípé ó máa ṣẹlẹ̀ in 10 years, wọ́n factor ẹ̀ mọ́ nǹkan tó ń rò ní ìsìn. Tí ò bá wá ṣẹlẹ̀, all well and good. But they don't just look at things narrowly. They expand every situation. Every blind spot wọ́n fẹ́ rí as clear as they can. So kàn lè kàn ju nǹkan kan fún wọn sìn, kó o kàn lọ pé bá wọn máa gbà á, àbí kó o kàn béèrè information kan lọ́wọ́ wọn, whatever thing. No, wá ní kó calm down. Kíákíá wá sáré ṣí orí wọn. Kí ló tẹ́ni ìbéèrè kíní? Kí ló fẹ́ fi ṣe? Tó bá gbà á lọ́wọ́ mi, tó bá fún ẹnìyẹn ńkọ́? Okay, kíní tó ń béèrè lọ́wọ́ mi, kí ni nǹkan tó fẹ́ lò fún? Bórí wọn ṣe ń ṣiṣẹ́ nìyẹn o. Tójú ẹsẹ̀ tó béèrè kọ́kọ́ ló máa dá ẹ lóhùn. People have common sense. It's not immediately. And you might not even know that, they're distracting you not to, respond immediately. They have a way of doing it. Some are, very blunt and say, give me time, I'll get back to you. And some will say, why not distract them briefly? To wọ́n gan ò ní fura. To allow them quickly process things and see the bigger picture. Because wọ́n mọ̀ pé nǹkan kan máa tún tẹ̀lé nǹkan kan. Yorùbá ní tó wà lẹ́yìn ẹ̀fà jèjè lọ. So nǹkan kan máa tún tẹ̀lé nǹkan kan, nǹkan kan máa tún tẹ̀lé nǹkan kan. So àwọn fẹ́ sáré wò ó pé okay, kí ló pin kíní? Ẹni tó wá béèrè nǹkan báyìí lọ́wọ́ mi yìí, kí ló fẹ́ kí ló ní in mind? Kí ló fẹ́ fi ṣe? Why tó béèrè ẹ̀? Some people will sell some ideas to you to make you feel like ìwọ ló fẹ́ benefit. And that's just because all they need is your commitment. And if they don't put it in such a way that you would see yourself as winning, you would not engage. But people with common sense will do what they call a role reversal. pé ẹ wà tó kàn fi ronú kàn mí out of the blues ń pé mi lòun fẹ́ gbé kinní fún mi kò lọ́mọ ìyá ẹ̀ kankan ẹ̀ tó fẹ́ ṣoríire ni why tó rò mí but why me why kinní then they start to ask question. That red flag, once they can initiate a red flag, that will propel them to start asking questions. And before you know it, and that's why people with common sense hardly get scammed. Because all they need to do they just need to process things and yeah, okay, kò fún mi ní nǹkan báyìí, kò fún mi ní nǹkan báyìí, ó dẹ̀ ní kinní báyìí nǹkan mẹ́rin, no, mo fura sẹ́ni. And by the time they ask one or two questions, wàá rí wípé wọ́n ti já ẹni yẹn bọ̀. In the same manner, they don't use how do I put it? They don't use short-term measures to make decisions that have long-term implications. Wọ́n ń fi èní nìkan fi ń decide. Wọ́n á ro ọ̀la mọ́, wọ́n á ro ọ̀túnla, wọ́n á ro ọjọ́ mẹ́fà, ọjọ́ méje, oṣù kan, ọdún kan. Ìgbésẹ̀ ní kí ni implication tó lè ní in the next 1 month. So they always give themselves that, space láti rí pé no àwọn yẹ nǹkan wò fínífíní. Kì kàn ṣe pé àwọn kan take lénìí then decision táwọn take lénìí á tún wá fáwọn sí problem lọ́la. No, they rather not take that decision. Now, another important thing that you will find in the life of people who have common sense, and this one is also very, very important, they have what I refer to as great sense of awareness. Wọ́n nífura. They sense with everything in their body. Gbogbo nǹkan tó lè pè ní sensory organs wọn ló ń ṣiṣẹ́, ló ń function. They are very, very aware, very sharp. And this awareness helps them a lot to know when to say certain things, when not to say certain things. Because ẹlòmíì ti lọ sọ̀rọ̀ níbi tí ò yẹ kó sọ̀rọ̀. Ní tó sọ kọ́ ni problem, ṣùgbọ́n ibi tó ti sọ níṣòro. Just like we discussed, Tiami's issue when we were talking about tact. It's not what he said that is a problem, but where he said it. And that's because he lacked common sense. Kò ro bigger picture. Oftentimes people fẹ́ drive out, don't fi fún ẹ ní interview slot. Who are you? Wo ohun tí wọ́n ti ń plan nínú system and how they needed you to validate the decision they're about to take. And that's why you see tó doníyẹ̀yẹ̀ nígboro. But people with common sense have that great sense of awareness. Tó bá débì kan, quickly they can read the room. Kí là ń sọ ń bí? Kí là ń sọ ń bí? Kí là ń ṣe ń bí? Kí là ń ṣe ń bí? They gauge the mood of people. They gauge, feelings quickly, and they know how to adapt themselves. Tó bá jẹ́ báyà group tó ti ń sọ̀rọ̀ gan ni, tó dẹ̀ pé group yẹn wọn wà familiar pẹ̀lú àwọn tó wà ń bẹ̀, they won't be the first person to talk. Wọ́n á decline. Wọ́n á ṣe bí òmùgọ̀. Wọ́n fẹ́ kọ́kọ́ gauge intellect àwọn tó wà ńbẹ̀, wọ́n fẹ́ kọ́ gauge level gbogbo àwọn tó wà ńbẹ̀, because sometimes tó bá yẹ ẹlòmíì jẹ́ ni pé ó lọ show ń pò ń gbọ́n jù láàrin àwọn tó yẹ kó farapamọ́ ń pòmùgọ̀ lòun. Ibẹ̀ lọ́tún báyìí pé ọ̀bọ yìí ẹ jẹ́ ká tètè wá bá a ṣe máa eléyìí máa kó bá wa ń bí o, because eléyìí ní brain o, tàbá jẹ́ kí tàbá fi eléyìí lẹ̀ láàrin wa ń bí nǹkan máa ṣe wa o. Òun dẹ̀ rí nǹkan wò báyìí pé láti show wọn bí pé kínní ó géèjì wọn kó wò báyìí pé láàrin àwọn people yìí ẹ̀mí gan láti ṣe bí ọ̀dẹ̀ ni o. Ìyẹn là ń sọ ní first definition pé common sense is the calculation you apply to life. O ní láti mọ̀ ìgbà wo là ń ṣe bí ọ̀dẹ̀, ìgbà wo là ń ṣe bí alágbára, ìgbà wo là ń ṣe bí ọ̀lẹ, ìgbà wo lèèyàn ń withdraw. Èèyàn dúró ṣáájú ń sọ fún ẹ pé wá bá everything jẹ́ I have nothing to lose, máa ṣe gangan. Ó dẹ̀ ṣe ń bọ́ṣọ láti bá rí ẹni bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn jà. Common sense yẹ kó sọ fún ẹ pé oh boy, eléyìí ò ní nǹkan kan láti lose, èmi mo sì ní nǹkan tí mo gbé dání. Ó dẹ̀ ti la ẹnu ara ẹ̀ ó ti sọ. A kì í bá ẹni tó sọ wípé I have nothing to lose, a kì í bá wọn jà. Just walk away. In fact, tó bá lè bẹ́ gan tó bẹ́ẹ̀, leave people around you to say ọ̀lẹ ni ẹ́, ọ̀dẹ̀ ni ẹ́, leave them to say it. Because you know what? Iwájú ilé ọ̀lẹ ni wọ́n máa ń gbé òkú alágbára gbà kọjá. Ẹ tẹ́ pé lọ́lẹ̀ ìtawájú ilé ìlà jókòó sí báyìí. Nígbà tí wọ́n bá ń gbé òkú ẹ tẹ́ pé ní alágbára tí wọ́n ń gbé tí wọ́n fẹ́ lọ sìn. In life, you need to be calculative. Ọ̀rọ̀ lẹ́lòmíì ti sọ ibi tí ò yẹ kó ti sọ̀rọ̀ tó ti fẹnu kọ. Ẹlòmíì ṣe show off mi tí yẹ kó ti ṣe show off. Tó bá dádúgbò kan tó ní common sense láti wò báyìí pé ọmọ ojú àwọn people bó ṣe gíràn bí. Gbogbo nǹkan tó bá ní tó jẹ́ valuables wàá ti yọ gbogbo ẹ̀ kúrò out of sight. Bó ṣe inú pátá ló máa kó gbogbo ẹ̀ sí ni wàá ti bọ́ gbogbo ẹ̀ pamọ́. Ṣé tí ò ní common sense á máa gapá ni. A kó airpod sétí a ṣapá yẹn bí alákàn tó ní arthritis a máa ṣe báyìí. Wọ́n máa obtain ẹ pa because you lack common sense. O ní sense of awareness láti mọ̀ pé à ń show off bí, à ń sọ̀rọ̀ bí, màá dákẹ́. Kò sí bọ́rọ̀ yẹn ṣe ń gbé ẹ tó nínú ẹ pé sọ tinú ẹ sọ fún wọn kó má rùn pọ́ dẹ̀ ní ẹ. Common sense á sọ fún ẹ pé dákẹ́, because you can read the room. Your instinct, your sense of awareness is telling you don't say nothing. They take more precautions. They pay attention to what's going on around. Wọ́n ní bọ́lọ́run bá fi ọ̀tá èèyàn hàn yàn kò lè pààyàn mọ́. Èèyàn fẹ́ ni tó bá lo information yẹn with common sense. I'll break it down. So àṣírí èèyàn kan tú sí ẹ lọ́wọ́ ń sìn pé ní plot kìíní fún ẹ. A fi information yẹn hàn ẹ́ láti save ẹ̀mí ẹ ni. Àná dẹ̀ lè save ẹ̀mí ẹ láì tiẹ̀ jẹ́ kí ẹni yẹn mọ̀ pé o mọ nǹkan tó mọ̀ yẹn. Because once tí ó ti hàn sí ẹ pé báyìí lẹni rí o, kò síwà tó hù sí ẹ lójú o, intention sí ẹ gangan ni o. Wàá mọ̀ bí wàá ṣe ṣọ́ra ẹ láàrin ènìyàn. Bó fún ẹ ní nǹkan, wàá ló ti yó, ò ní jẹ́. Bó ní o ká lọ síbì kan pé àwọn fẹ́ lọ fibì kan hàn ẹ́, wàá ló busy pò lọ. Because wàá máa rò all the time pé báyọ̀ ọjọ́ execution ló dé yìí, báyọ̀ tó ti fẹ́ lọ tàn ẹ́ parí, báyọ̀ tó fún ẹ bá fẹ́ poison ẹ ni. Bó pè ẹ́ tó ń bi ẹ́ láwọn question kan, wàá wá pé náà ó fẹ́ mú mi lóhùn ni. Wàá mọ̀ bí wàá ṣe apply ara ẹ̀. Ìyẹn lẹni tó ní common sense, tó lo information tá a fi hàn wípé ọ̀tá ẹ̀ rè. Ṣùgbọ́n ṣe rí tí ò ní common sense, immediately tí àṣírí yẹn tú sí lọ́ba, ó lọ bá ẹni yẹn ni. Àṣírí ẹ ti tú, a ò lè rí nǹkan kan ṣe fẹ́mi mọ́ o. So irú ọ̀rẹ́ báyìí ló jẹ́, olórí burúkú ni ẹ́, ò fẹ́ mi fúnre. Wàláìtàláì, ẹni yẹn ò lè lo ọjọ́ mẹ́ta láyé. Ó máa kú. Because kò lo common sense. Common sense máa fún ẹ ní sense of awareness wípé ẹni set boundary pẹ̀lú ìwà àti ẹ̀. Máa create space láàrin ìwà àti ẹ̀ bó ti wù kó mọ̀. Because eléni ní ẹ̀ ni. You don't need to reveal that information to the person. Ìwọ ló máa jẹ́ kí information ẹ wúlò fún ẹ. But the moment you open your mouth and reveal to that person that you are aware of what they are planning for you, forget it, you are gone. You are gone. So, that is that about that. Another thing that you will find in the life of people with common sense is that they are driven by simplicity and efficiency. Àwọn yẹn ni wọ́n ń pè ní ọgbọ́n ju agbára. Àwọn yẹn ló máa rí tí wọ́n bá kó àáké fún yín bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe pọ̀ tó, bóyá o a fún yín 7 hours, bóyá gbogbo yẹn máa ké nǹkan kan kẹ́ gé igi kalẹ̀. The people with common sense are the people you find that they will sharpen their axe for 5 hours out of that 7 hours. 2 hours péré ló máa fi lo effort. The remaining 5 hours, they use it on preparation. Ìgbọ́n tí ò ní common sense, 7 hours la máa fi ṣán igi gbà. So people with common sense, first thing, no matter how bí issue yẹn bá ṣe wù kó rí, they first of all wants to simplify it. Kí ni wọ́n yọ kúrò ńbẹ̀? Wọ́n yọ àwọn nǹkan tí ò relevant kúrò ńbẹ̀. In every situation, in every circumstance, gbogbo factors tó so mọ́ nǹkan kọ́ ló important. So you must first of all strip those unimportant stuff, irrelevant stuff away. Kó fà wọ́n kókó lẹ̀. O ti kọ́kọ́ simplify situation. And that's why they say simplicity is high level thinking. Because it's hard láti stream down something very complicated and something massive. So the first thing they do is to simplify situation. Gbogbo relevancies wọn á kọ́ yọ kúrò ńbẹ̀, ilé ò matter. Ètò báyìí kan combine, wọn á combine. So where you have 20-30 steps tẹ́lẹ̀, wọ́n lè sọ di 5. And that helps them to process things faster, to work faster, to achieve their goals faster. Ẹlòmíì complication ni, information overload. gbogbo nǹkan tí ò relevant wọ́n á máa gbà mọ́ wọ́n á máa gbà mọ́ wọ́n á máa gbà mọ́ bọ́n rí lè wọ́n ní ẹja mu mọ́ àkókò mọ̀ ń tọ́ta wúlò. Wọ́n ní àìlè mójú kúrò ló mú kẹ́rù wèrè pọ̀. People with common sense, they would rather do away with, they are minimalist. Let me put it that way. They are minimalist in thought, they are minimalist in practice, in living, in lifestyle. They only need relevant stuff. They don't want to be bothered. And then they think from the perspective of efficiency. How do we achieve this with less effort, less resources, and in quicker time? That's how they think. With that at the back of their mind, then they start to look at the situation. Wọn kàn torí bọ nǹkan bó bá ṣe wà. Kò sí bí ẹ ṣe ru ẹrù yẹn wá. Wọ́n á kọ́ ní ẹdúró bẹ̀rẹ̀ náà. Quickly by looking at one screen yẹn, wọ́n á kọ́ wá pé no, ẹ fún mi lélẹ̀. Eléyìí nǹkan mi tí ì need it. If I need it, màá yẹ̀ wò. And you can see this at play in every aspect of their life. Àwọn èèyàn máa ń rò pé báyọ̀ lẹ́nu wọn àbí wọ́n like easy life or whatever thing like that. Think it the way you want, but the way they process things, òun ni mo ti ṣàlàyé yẹn. They look at things from the perspective of efficiency. Báwo la ṣe lè get kìíní tá à ní low resources, or we use very minimal resources, we use less money, we use less time. Smart thinkers. Before they start the thing, wọ́n á ti kọ́kọ́ rò. Okay, gbogbo nǹkan tí n fẹ́ kó yìí, mo lè lọ 100 times. 100 times ló yẹ kí n lọ, but báwo mo ṣe lè ṣe ní 30 times or 20. Wọ́n á jókòó, wọ́n á po nǹkan kí làwọn lè combine, gbélé mọ́ ilé, kó ilé sórí ilé, kó yẹn sórí ibẹ̀ yẹn and stuff like that. And before you know it, àwa pè pé pẹ̀lẹ́ ń bẹ̀ yẹn o. Ẹ pẹ̀lẹ́ ẹ nísinmi díẹ̀. Wọ́n ní àwọn ti parí. Ẹ parí báwo lẹ ṣe ṣe? Because wọ́n ní common sense. Wọ́n kọ́kọ́ jókòó, wọ́n plan. Wọ́n jókòó, wọ́n wo ohun tó wà níwájú wọn. Wọ́n plan. Okay, báwo kí n má ti ṣe kíní ìsìn, because with the little resources tí mo ní, á há mi lọ́rùn, and I'll spend longer time and I have to abandon it and stuff. So wọ́n á fi ilẹ̀. Àwọn èèyàn máa wá ọ̀gbẹ́ni ò ṣe kíní ní ò ṣe màá ṣe later. Ẹlòmíì àti ẹ̀ta mẹ́pọ̀ lẹ́ni, but ó mọ nǹkan tó ń ṣe because ó mọ̀ pé òun ò fẹ́ struggle bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ń struggle. Ó need 1, 2, 3 things more. Ẹ̀kan bá kàn ṣe fìyàm ni. Àwa ni bọ́bọ́ ẹ ṣe bó lóòótì bẹ̀rẹ̀ ni. Ó parọ́ tán wà, kò parọ́. Ìgbà tẹ́yìn ń lo agbára yẹn, òun ronú a smarter way to achieve what he wants to do. Then another thing that you find with people with common sense is that they are the realest and the most practical people you will ever come across. They are almost transparent. No. Because, look, black is black, white is white. Yes, they understand that between these spectrums of color, you can have different shades of gray. but they want you to bring that gray if it's necessary before they consider it. Otherwise, this is what we are seeing, and this is what we are seeing. So let's deal with those things that we are seeing. Any other thing you want us to consider, bring it out. If you don't bring it out, then we don't put them in place. You can't bamboozle them. You can't, they look at things from the point of practicability. uh, uh, okay, for example, see, o fẹ́ ra pọtí fọ́mọ. Kí ni purpose ẹ fẹ́ ra pọtí fọ́mọ? Because ẹ fẹ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí kọ́ ọmọ ẹ ní potty training. From there, kó lè mọ̀ bí wọ́n ṣe lè lo proper toilet. Pò is pò. So they go into the store and come out. Tẹ́ bá dé store, ẹ máa rí oríṣiríṣi. Ẹ máa rí pọtí mi tó dàbí helicopter gan. Ẹ máa rí pọtí mi tó dàbí wọ́n tún build ẹ̀ bí castle. Ó jẹ́ pé ọmọ yẹn á gùn lọ, wá lọ jókòó sórí ẹ̀. People with common sense will not buy such thing because it's not practicable. They go straight to what they need. They will rather look at how sturdy ìtàn fẹ́ rà yẹn bó ṣe rí, durability and whatever. That's the only thing they will consider, and they go to the checkpoint and they go out. Báwọn kan máa débẹ̀, wọ́n á wò ó pé eléyìí dẹ̀ fine o, ọmọ yẹn á wá gun step yẹn lọ, á wá jókòó sórí kinní yẹn. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́, ṣẹ́yìn ń gun step kẹ́ tó lo toilet? No wonder tẹ́ bá wá gbé délé, ọmọ yẹn bá fẹ́ yàgbẹ́, máa wonder pé ọmọ yẹn sì ń yàgbẹ́ sára, because ọmọ yẹn wò báyìí pé òun á tún lọ gun kinní ìjàre, ó easy kóun kúkú fọ́gbẹ́ sínú pátá ìjàre. Because you're not being practical. You're just wasting money, wasting resources. You're not focused on what you want to achieve. So people with common sense are not easily distracted by, frivolous things they see around or fanciful things or what. They focus on practicability. Kí ni a fẹ́ ṣe? Nǹkan tá a fẹ́ ṣe, kí la need? Eléyìí la need, and that's it. Gbogbo máa fi marketing gimmicks àbí gbogbo nǹkan báyìí fi tàn wọ́n, mess up their head, confuse them. They are not easily confused because they know what they want and they don't mess around. And people like that, they hardly, waste resources or funds or whatever thing because they are very, very focused. Ìtàn bá lè ṣe, wọ́n á wọ ẹni tó lè ṣe. They're not people with common sense are not penny wise and pound foolish. Where they need to spend money, they spend money láti achieve nǹkan tó fẹ́ achieve. And where they need to, spend their own effort, they spend their own effort. So ẹlòmíì, ó mọ̀ pé ó lè ṣe, ó láìdí àkíní yẹn, but ó lè ṣe dé, professional level, but torí ó ṣàfẹ́ náwó ṣá, ó wá torí bọ̀. You are likely to end up, not completing that project. You've wasted money on resources you used so far. You've wasted your time and effort that you could have spent on something else. And then, wàá ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ tún wá lọ pé àwọn tó máa wá ṣe parí wà ní wàá tún wá náwó. So, people with common sense understand their limit of competence. They know what they can do. They know what they can't do. They're very practical, very factual. They know when to call in, professional help and say, get this thing done for me. And they use their time on something else. And they pay money for that. And they know when they need to expend their own effort because they know they are capable of achieving that thing even better than an extra hand. So they don't mess around. It's part of common sense. Ẹlòmíà wá ní mo kàn dẹ̀ gbìyànjú ẹ̀ ni o kí ẹ mọ̀ ìyànjú náà ṣàlàyé a ní ká ṣe kínní náà ni ẹ wò gbogbo ẹ̀ ló wá di kínní ìjàre. Tẹ̀ tó bá fẹ́ ṣe bá wá di ẹ̀ wà máa ní ìyẹn ilẹ̀ tó fẹ́ gbà ni ẹ ṣàrí pé mo ti ṣe débì kan kò sí nǹkan tó kàn bá ṣe débì kan gbogbo nǹkan tó ṣe yẹn ó máa tún bẹ̀rẹ̀ again. Otherwise tó bá ṣe tán tí ò dáa wàá blame ẹni yẹn pé ẹ gbogbo nǹkan tẹ́ ẹ ṣe fún mi at that time kò lè máa ṣàlàyé pé àṣìbẹ́yìn lẹ ṣe débí. So the person will start all over again from the start. I face people like this in my tailoring business. Wọn ò fẹ́ náwó níbí láti ránṣọ. Wọ́n á ní wọn lọ rán Nàìjíríà. Ẹlòmíà máa gbé tailor ṣépè torí aṣọ yẹn wọ́n ò rí gbà gan. Ibi ìdẹ́rẹ̀ ọjọ́ tá a bá dá fún ẹ ló máa gbà. Now ẹlòmíà ṣe tán wọ́n á káṣọ yẹn débí kò ní dáa á wá pè ẹ́. Àìjọ òun náwọn aṣọ kan tó bá òun kó wá láti Nàìjíríà ẹjọ òun fẹ́ ṣe àwọn alteration. I don't do alteration. I don't do it. No tailor loves to do alteration because wàá jókòó ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ máa two stitches. And then gbogbo nǹkan ló ní bó ṣe bára mu gbogbo body part ló ní bó ṣe correlate pẹ̀lú another body part. So some alterations are not just straightforward ní pé o kàn máa là báyìí. Nígbà tó bá là tí shoulder ò bá bá chest mu mọ́ ńkọ́. So sometimes you have to strip the garment to pieces again. Sort of pé báyìí o ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ń rí tailor. Now, people like that, you charge them the same amount you will charge for tailoring for them from the scratch. Wọ́n á ní ń pẹ́ kàn máa bá mi slim down kí ní lásán lẹ fẹ́ gba yẹn. Yeah, slim down lásán lẹ pé. Ẹ fẹ́ ṣe ẹnu ṣòkòtò ẹ mọ̀ pé ẹnu ṣòkòtò ní í ṣe pẹ̀lú size itan yín. Otherwise a máa lọ. So kì í ṣe ẹnu ṣòkòtò nìkan la máa slim a máa tú débi tán. Láti lè fẹ́ sí ká tó lè slim down bẹ́ẹ̀. Otherwise you wear it a máa lọ díẹ̀ ni. But o fẹ́ kàn sanwó slim ẹnu lásán. No, we charge you fún iye tán fi rán ṣòkòtò ni. But people with common sense will pay what they need to pay to get the quality and the maximum benefit they want once and for all and move on to something else rather than dealing with issues. O ti kọ́kọ́ san owó tailor bẹ́ẹ̀ ó fi pè àti ṣàpọ̀nà ló rán sí kó tó dé pé ó gbà pàjẹ́ káṣọ yẹn ready gbà tó gbé wá gan aṣọ kan rí rádaràda. Ìnáwó kọ̀ọ̀la ó sì ń sáré káàkiri láti wẹ́n tó máa bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ṣe alteration and everything like that. People with common sense don't do that. They're very practical. They focus on what is important, assess the whole situation, save themselves stress and headache. So they don't follow gbogbo àwọn tricks and all these gimmicks àti emotion, whatever thing like that. No, they are led by what they think works. And that's it. So, and the last one I would mention is people with common sense verify everything. Don't get it twisted. They don't have trust issues. No, they trust. But they still double check everything. They still double check everything because they believe oversight lè ti wà. So there's no harm káwọn yẹ̀ wò. People with common sense would not take everything I say on this platform as the truth. They would go and do their own research as well to confirm, to cross check whether n tí mò ń sọ irọ́ ni àbóòtọ́. The Berean Christians that were mentioned in the scripture are the Christians with common sense, not today's Christians. Today's Christians, when they are entering the places of worship, they remove their brain and place it at the entrance of the church. They enter with empty brain. Gbogbo ohun tó bá sọ fún wọn, wọ́n kàn ń gbé mi bẹ́ẹ̀ ni. Ìtí ẹ máa ń rí tí wọ́n ń bọ́ bàtà lẹ̀ lẹ́nu ọ̀nà mọ́ṣáláṣí yẹn, ọpọlọ làwọn eléyìí ń bọ́lẹ̀ lẹ́nu ọ̀nà. But the Berean Christians were described as Christians or worshippers who, after listening to the preachings of the apostles, will go home and go and check everything again. Láti rí i pé wọn kàn lámbà wọn. Most people will have today can't do their own check, can't make their own findings. They rely on other people to go and do the work for them. Òun ló ṣe ń rí yíyàn jẹ. So some people dedicated themselves to learning, studying, and everything. Ìwọ ò ṣe kankan. Ẹni ẹ wá fi English ó fi ń da orí ẹ̀rú, ó fi ń gba gbogbo ohun tó ṣiṣẹ́ 30 days fún, ó fi kó lọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan. You only have yourself to blame. So whatever information you give to them, whatever, thing they hear or come across or whatever, experience has taught them that things are not the way they look. Things are not the way they appear. So, for example, personally, if I want to know about a person, I don't like to ask somebody who knows that person. Or no, let me put it this way. I don't rely on the references they give to me about that person, right? Because obviously èèyàn kan náà ló máa recommend èèyàn kan whatever. But in tó bá sọ ń pa ẹni yẹn, this is how I take it. Tí n bá bí èèyàn kan pa èèyàn, tó bá sọ dáadáa ń pa ẹni yẹn, kò mean pé èèyàn dáadáa lẹni yẹn. Ṣùgbọ́n ìhà dáadáa ẹni yẹn ni ẹni tó sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀ fún mi yẹn mọ̀. That's how I take it. So ẹni yẹn ó sì ní ìwà ibi lọ́wọ́, but màá gbọ́ rating tí wọ́n fún ní dáadáa yẹn, but I still keep myself open láti mọ ẹni tí èèyàn yẹn jẹ́. Tó bá sọ̀rọ̀ èèyàn kan fún mi, tó paint ẹni yẹn lé èèyàn burúkú, ẹni yẹn totality ẹ̀ kì í ṣe èèyàn burúkú. Ntẹ́ni yẹn sọ fún mi ń pa ẹ̀yẹn, ìhà burúkú tẹ́ni yẹn kọ sí ló fi describe ẹni yẹn. So I keep my mind open láti rí ẹni yẹn tán, láti mọ dáadáa ẹ̀. But mo sì keep in mind náà pé tendency báyìí ló ní o, because anything people do, they're showing themselves. They're leaving a track. And people don't only behave in a certain way once. Ẹ̀kan tó sọ fún ẹ pọ́n ṣe yẹn kọ́ lọ ṣe, ẹ̀kan tó rí tán ṣe yẹn kọ́ lọ ṣe. Wọ́n ti ṣe rí, wọ́n dẹ̀ sì tún máa tún ṣe, because people repeat patterns. So á bẹ́tà kó má kó ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn dànù, kọ́ra fi síbì kan tí wọ́n fi mọ̀ bó ṣe máa protect ara ẹ̀. Ẹni báyìí ní tendency báyìí o, ṣùgbọ́n mi ì ní gbọ́ bọ́n ṣe paint ẹ̀ lẹ́ni burúkú yẹn kémi náà kàn dẹ̀ mú bẹ́ẹ̀ kí wọ́n á máa fi hùwà sí ń pẹ́ ní burúkú ni kò tí ì ṣe bí sí mi but màá mú un pó ní tendency láti jẹ́rú èèyàn báyìí. So tí n bá fẹ́ mọ̀ nípa èèyàn màá gbégbèsè tèmi láti mọ ènìyàn. Gbogbo information tí n bá gather here and there they can guide me láti mọ tendencies tẹniyẹn ní but èmi gangan mo fẹ́ mọ ènìyàn. I'll do my own findings about that person. So we have so many people tó jẹ́ pé information tó fi ń gbé ayé information táwọn òbí wọn fún wọn ni but they are outdated information because nígbà táwọn apply ẹ̀ cost of living lè má rí báyìí ìgbà táwọn apply ẹ̀ economy lè má rí báyìí ìwọ tó wá sọ fún tó wá lọ apply ẹ̀ hook line and sinker ibi tó máa já ẹ sí ò dá o àwa ni wọ́n ṣì ẹ́ lọ́nà wọ́n ṣì ẹ́ lọ́nà ìwọ ló apply common sense láti mọ̀ pé okay ìgbà táwọn sọ pé kíní work 19 kíni nígbà tí Nàìjíríà ṣì ní Gongola state okay nísìn níbi táyé dé nsìn kí ló yẹ kó ṣe ó yẹ kó wo the current situation ó ní kó fi apply sí information tó fún ẹ yẹn and see whether it works it doesn't work what works mú bẹ́ẹ̀ apply it to the current situation today. So this are some of the traits you will find in people with common sense. So to round up, how can you now have common sense? I've said a bit of it at the opening introduction. It's not a function of education because we have so many intelligent people or so many educated people who still behave in a way that wàhálà nù ní pé ẹgbọ́n ṣùgbọ́n ní ẹ ṣọ́ pé wọ́n lẹ́nu yẹn ní PhD ṣá ẹ ṣọ́ pé kò rà. I've told you common sense has nothing to do with degrees. Wọ́n ń kọ́ common sense in school. Wọ́n bí common sense mọ́ èèyàn. It's not in it. Common sense is cultivated. Common sense is something you have to acquire through experience. So tá bá wá àwọn ọmọdé bọ́n ṣe ń behave a máa rí pé yes they lack common sense. Wọ́n á ṣe nǹkan a máa pariwo mọ́ wọn because I expect pé ó yẹ kán mọ̀. Wọ́n mọ̀ why because wọ́n experience ẹ̀ rí. Ìtàn experience ni wọ́n máa fi hùwà. Ìtàn experience ló máa fi hùwà. So but as adult you draw common sense from the lessons you learn from your previous life experiences. That's how you build your bank of common sense. Just like I've made mention of illustrations of scars. You should be proud of your scars. You shouldn't hide them, because each one of them reminds you of something that should have killed you, but you survived. Each one of them tells you a story of your survival. Each one of them tells you a story of where you're coming from. Each one of them is a bank or a memory of lesson for you. Anything tó bá ṣẹlẹ̀ sí wa láyé, no matter how hurtful, no matter how painful the experience is, we should not let it define us. But we should draw lessons from such experiences and store them in a bank where we can draw from when we face similar situations, or people around us face similar situations, and we can help them out. So, for those who check weather forecast, ibi tó bá kàn check ẹ̀ ń tanra ẹni. Common sense sọ fún mi nílùú ibi tí mò ń gbé yìí o, wípé lójoojúmọ́ o, you prepare for 4 seasons in a day. Má tẹ̀lé weather forecast, prepare for 4 seasons, because láàárọ̀ tó ń lọ, òjò ni wàá fi kúrò nílé. Kó tó dé station, òun á ti máa ràn. By the time tí ó ń padà lọ síbi tó ń lọ, kò gbóná kò tutù ló ń happen. Ìgbà tó bá ń padà bọ̀ lálẹ́, òtútù ti ń mú. So when you are setting out, you have to prepare yourself for this weather fluctuations by carefully choosing your garment such that wàá ti mọ̀ bó ṣe máa layer. Wàá ti wo either umbrella àbí jacket tó jẹ́ waterproof. So tójò bá bẹ̀rẹ̀, gbélé lórí. Tó bá ti dá ká kó bọ̀. Òtútù mú, bọ́ layer kan. Ooru mú, bọ́ layer kan. Òtútù mú, fi layer kan ṣe padà. Ń padà lẹ́, tún gbé jacket lé. Experience ló máa sọ fún ẹ. Ẹni tó ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ń bọ̀, tó ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ dé láti ìlú míì, kò lè understand. Why? Because kò ní common sense. Kí ló jẹ́ tí ò ní common sense? It's not that pé wọ́n be foolish, no, because kò tí experience weather situation inú ìlú yẹn rí. Ìgbà tó bá máa fi ṣe oṣù méjì, oṣù mẹ́ta, ó ní òkú ọjọ́ mẹ́ta ò kì í ṣàjòjì sáré mọ́. A ti mọ̀ pé okay, bipolar weather ló wà ń lu yìí o. In tó bá wù ló máa ń ṣe at any time. So, and láti prepare fún anyone tó bá yọ ni. Common sense drawn from experience, and this is how you build common sense. So tẹ bá rẹni tó hùwà bákan bákan, tẹ ò bá ń pẹ́ báà lẹ́ni ṣe nǹkan báyìí, nǹkan méjì ni. Either kíkiní yẹn ò ṣe rí, so kò ní common sense, or secondly, ó ti ṣe rí ṣùgbọ́n kò learn from it and is repeating the same mistake. Kì í ṣe pé kò kàwé o, kì í ṣe pé àbí stupid o, kì í ṣe wípé ó deliberately fẹ́ hùwà bẹ́yẹn o. N tó ṣẹlẹ̀ sí ni wípé kò tíì cultivate common sense, which usually you gather through experience. That is all I have for you, my wonderful friends. Tonight, we spent over 1.5 hours, and I hope you've gained one or two things from the discussion tonight. If you have any question, you have any contribution, you can just chip that in. If not, then I can leave you to hit the bed and start your weekend. Ah, mo kí yín o, ọ̀yá fúnkẹ́ àríkẹ́ olóríṣà, ogún atọ́ o, ẹ kú rìn ẹ o, ẹ kú ọdún o, bó o lọ́hùn, ẹ pẹ̀lẹ́ o, ṣe ẹ ṣàdúrà fún wa ń bẹ̀. It's good to have you back on the show. Great to have you back on the show. Right. Yeti's Kitchen. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome with me, Yeti's Kitchen. As you all know, you can't tell the story of Jagbajantis and not, mention Yeti's Kitchen. She's here on the show, and on one VVIP session. Ibẹ̀ lọ jókòó sí ní alẹ́. And I'm just seeing her comments came to Beshi Cannibal. Àwọn nìyẹn. Wọ́n á máa rún jẹ ní. Tí wọ́n á máa sọ fún wọn pé, kọ́ pé, who is your daddy? Who is your daddy? It's you. Who is your daddy? It's you. At that time, one more daddy, one more. Scream his name. Bayo. Bayo. Scream his name. Bayo. 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 Oh, mi ò fẹ́ lọ level yẹn. Ẹ má jẹun wọ level yẹn. Right. So, it's a pleasure to have all of you on the show. Thank you very much for you joining me tonight at Yeti's Kitchen. And for those of you who don't know Yeti's Kitchen is an Afro British restaurant situated in Manchester, but they operate, UK wide, and the business is going in leaps and bounds. I'm so happy with the moves they're making. Previously, it's just a restaurant where you go in and eat, and they've added several dimensions to the restaurant now. They're catering for people in universities, they're catering for your events, they're catering for festivals, and now they're even catering for pop artists. Yeti's Kitchen now is feeding Davido. Yes. They're not catering to VIPs who charter private jets. Just like this, they serve them food in the normal commercial planes. They now provide services for chartered flights and private flyers like that. So, and also now they're operating an African what do you call it now? An African shop where you can buy everything you want, from yam to your vegetables to African groceries generally. So Yeti's Kitchen is your plug-in in Manchester or any part of UK that you reside. Just hit them up and they can ship anything you want to you. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is Yeti's Kitchen for you. Right. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. And I hope we've been able to shift our perspective on the issue of common sense, the spirit of reasonableness, where you know the measure of possible. It's that calculation you apply to life. Ìgbà wo la ń sọ̀rọ̀, kí là ń ṣe, ṣé lè tọ̀nà, ṣé kò tọ̀nà, ṣé ká ṣe àbí ká má ṣe. Okay, tá bá tiẹ̀ máa ṣe, why now? Why not later? Orí common sense ni gbogbo ẹ̀ jókòó lé lórí. And it comes from no other position but from experience. Thank you very much for joining me this evening. Papa Mukinyo, thank you very much for tuning in as well. It's a pleasure to always have you on the show. Right. Ẹ jẹ́ máa fèyí ṣe lọ. Ẹ̀yin lẹ́ máa wá, ẹ̀ dẹ̀ máa bá mi. A ní dolódì ara wa o. A dẹ̀ nífẹ̀ẹ́ ẹnikẹ́ni nínú wa ṣe àwátì. Èdè wa ò ní dàrú. A ní gbúrò ibi síra wa o. Until I see you again next week, Friday, remain blessed and have a wonderful night and weekend. Ó dàárọ̀.
Ẹ̀sọ̀ pẹ̀lẹ́ láyé gbà ọ̀rẹ́, ẹ jẹ́ ká máa ṣe jẹ́jẹ́. Síbi tí ẹ ládàlẹ̀ ayé, kò máa ṣẹ̀dá tó mọ̀ ńlá. Ó jẹ́ ṣe jẹ́jẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi o, ayé gbẹ̀gẹ́. Inú ẹni ṣálámọ̀, a ò mẹ́ni tó fẹ́ ni. Ká ṣe bí ẹni kú, káwọ́ ẹni tí ó ṣe dàrú ẹni. Ṣàṣà ènìyàn nífẹ̀ẹ́ ní lẹ́yìn, tẹrú tọmọ nífẹ̀ẹ́ ní lójú ẹni. Ọmọ aráyé abániwọ̀nrọ̀ pa orí dání wọ́n. Ayé ò fẹ́ ní ìfọ̀rọ̀, orí ẹni ní pé kó yẹ ni. You gotta be strong cause the world is a battlefield. Òjò láyé ó gbé ní lọ, bá ò bá mọ̀ wẹ̀. Má ṣe làlà òtọ́ láì bá dé, stress softly dákun ṣe jẹ́jẹ́. Ilé ayé ogun ni ó gbọ̀gbọ́n. Ẹ̀sọ̀ pẹ̀lẹ́ láyé gbà ọ̀rẹ́, ẹ jẹ́ ká máa ṣe jẹ́jẹ́. Síbi tí ẹ lábẹ́lẹ̀ ayé, kò máa ṣẹ̀dá tó mọ̀ ńlá. Ó jẹ́ ṣe jẹ́jẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi o, ayé gbẹ̀gẹ́. Inú ẹni ṣálámọ̀, a ò mẹ́ni tó fẹ́ ni. Ṣẹ̀rántí a ò mẹ́rin ìjọba ẹ̀wẹ̀kú ẹ̀wẹ̀lẹ̀. Àwọn ọlọ́tẹ̀ ni wọ́n dìde wọn lájànà kó lè rí inú gbọ́gbé. Àṣenìtàn bá ní ìdàrú ṣálọ̀ máa ráyé. Àwọ̀ fẹ́lẹ́ bòónù kò jẹ́ àríkùn àṣebí. You gotta be wise to survive and keep your sanity. Ọjà ọ̀dájú ní ilé ayé, o ní láti mọ̀ ọ́n rà. Àyàgbé ọ̀gẹ̀gẹ̀ tó bá ti lówó, ọ̀yàn òun ló wà lọ́jọ́ ogún dé. Ọwọ́ epo láyé ńlá, wọ́n kì í lá tẹ̀jẹ̀. Ara lámọ̀ á ò mọ́nú, ẹni ayé yẹ kó rọra ṣe. Ṣọ́ra, ṣọ́ra. Ẹ̀sọ̀ pẹ̀lẹ́ láyé gbà ọ̀rẹ́, ẹ jẹ́ ká máa ṣe jẹ́jẹ́ o. Síbi tí ẹ ládàlẹ̀ ayé, kò máa ṣẹ̀dá tó mọ̀ ńlá. Ó jẹ́ ṣe jẹ́jẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi o, ayé gbẹ̀gẹ́ o. Inú ẹni ṣálámọ̀, a ò mẹ́ni tó fẹ́ ni. Ẹ̀sọ̀ pẹ̀lẹ́ láyé gbà ọ̀rẹ́, ẹ jẹ́ ká máa ṣe jẹ́jẹ́. Síbi tí ẹ ládàlẹ̀ ayé, kò máa ṣẹ̀dá tó mọ̀ ńlá. Ìyàkùn bá jẹ́ ṣe jẹ́jẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi o, ayé gbẹ̀gẹ́. Inú ẹni ṣálámọ̀, a ò mẹ́ni tó fẹ́ ni. Ẹ̀sọ̀ pẹ̀lẹ́ láyé gbà ọ̀rẹ́, ẹ jẹ́ ká máa ṣe jẹ́jẹ́. Ọ̀rẹ́ mi ṣòwò tí ẹ ládàlẹ̀ ayé, àgbàdo ti tó mọ̀ ńlá. Yòókù lọ́gbọ́n, ó jẹ́ ṣe jẹ́jẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi o.